surpassable. I vow to embody it. Creations are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to transform them. Reality is boundless. I vow to perceive it. The awakened way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Creations are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to transform them. Reality is boundless. I vow to perceive it. The awakened way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Let me respectfully remind you, life and death are of supreme importance. Time passes swiftly and opportunity is lost. Let us awaken, awaken, take heed. Do not squander your life.
Thank you, everybody. I'm so grateful we could share this time together. We will gather again in 30 minutes for the beginning of the program. And again, thank you for your practice. So everybody, we're going to sort out, oh good. There was a little glitch. The meeting max looked like it had been reached, but it hasn't, so good. So while people are still coming in through the cloud temple door, we'll just wait a few minutes. And Noah, could you spotlight also Natalie and Clark and Kaz? Hi, Clark.
Hey, John. How are you?
I'm good. And Nat and Kaz are there somewhere, about to be magically spotlighted. Hey, Natalie.
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
Hey, Kaz.
Hi.
Okay, we're going to be spotlighted in just a minute.
There's Kaz. Hi, Kaz.
Kaz has the best
Oh.
background.
Nice background, Kaz.
Thank you.
Is it for sale?
It's a little bit too big for my halo.
Aha. I'm not sure if that's really true. I think all sizes of halo will fit you just fine.
It's just like Natalie's new book.
I know. I've got it in my hands. So Donna mentions, there are captions now. So if you're hard of hearing or our English is too strange, you just go to some magic place Noah will explain, and you will have, oh yeah, it says live transcript is available. So that's really great. So people who have sensitive hearing, you can access the live transcription. Noah, can you explain how that's done, please?
Yeah, I think everyone can see a CC button at the bottom of your screen, live transcript, or if you're on a mobile device, it will be in the more category probably. And then you can click on that and select view subtitle. You can also say view full transcript. And it's pretty amazing how well it does. Of course, Upaya always looks like Upaya and other comical mistranscriptions, but for the most part, I hope it helps.
Thanks, Noah. So I just want to welcome everybody tonight. Natalie, I forgot the year we started this. It was you, Kaz, and me, and then we had special guests on and off, and then Clark settled into our gaggle. But how long have we been doing this, Nat?
This is the 7th year, I think.
Oh, good.
And 7 is a really good number.
Well,
really good number, a lucky number.
Yeah, I'll tell you, 2020 wasn't a lucky number. So I
Yeah. And we got it, didn't we?
Until it wasn't.
We paid, and many are still paying. And if you're in Texas and under your blankets tonight and shaming that person called Cruz, behave. We're in wild times. And just to say, Nat and Clark and Kaz and I have worked really hard on creating a program that we hope will be congenial with this Zoom format. And we're excited, actually. It's a pretty far out thing we're going to be doing over the next few days. And we need your full-on participation. And it's nice if you leave your video window open so that we can be in each other's space to the extent that we can. And also, we're going to be writing a lot of haiku, and whether, I know Nat would recommend that you always use pen or pencil, but some of you are sort of post pen and post pencil. We won't hold it against you if you write it on your computer, but Natalie might correct me later. And there are forms. We've got a whole system set up so that you can get all of these haiku to Clark and to Nat, and we'll be swimming in haiku. But I also want to say I'm grateful that these 4 good friends could be with all of you. This is such a wonderful opportunity for us to be together, to play. And I know we miss the beautiful food of Upaya in the Zendo, but only about 50 of you would be able to come into the space here at Upaya. And we have now hundreds, literally from all over the world, who are able to access what we're doing. So there is an upside to the current situation. So we miss you at Upaya. And we're in lockdown, and we will be for, as we understand it, for quite a while. So here we are. And this would not be possible without your generosity. So I think many of you have donated, and I just thank you so much for making it possible for us not only to bless the teachers, but also to take care of Upaya, the staff, and all that happens behind the curtain that makes this possible. So don't feel shy about donating once or twice or 3 times or whatever you wish. Now, Nat has this incredible new book, and we made it required reading. That was bad, Natalie. But I tell you, I've read it twice, and it is gorgeous. And I want to read the first line in the book. It says, haiku is a refuge. When the world seems chaotic, when you are lost, frightened, tangled, and nothing is clear. Haiku is a refuge. When the world seems chaotic, when you are lost, frightened, tangled, and nothing is clear. That was so prophetic, Nat.
Yeah, I'm afraid it was.
Yeah.
I certainly used haiku that way for many, many years. If I grabbed a book of haiku and read it, it calmed me down. Even if it was about suffering, it wasn't my suffering anymore. It wasn't about me. But so I wrote that, but then now it is so crazy. It really is. People are gobbling up haiku. I feel like it's the new Woodstock. This weekend is the new Woodstock, and you're lucky enough to be here. And in years forward, it'll be a myth maker. Hey, did you go to that haiku weekend?
I did, Natalie. And it actually is kind of an interesting piece, because what you have right after that opening line is unaware. The place is famous. A man tilling a field. Unaware.
You're right.
Cheeky. The place is famous. A man tilling a field. So that's what we want to do the next 2 days, and beginning tonight is to till a field together. And it is a field of 1, benefaction, but 2, it's not only collecting and swimming in the haiku of the great masters. some of which we'll be doing, but it's also understanding that haiku is a medicine for our time. And that you and I and Kaz and the hundreds of you who are out there, we will be writing haiku. We'll be working that edge within ourselves to notice deeply and to capture in 575 or in a free kind of way what it is to actually look more deeply than we usually do. I want to just go to the very end of your book, Nat, because you talk about Allen Ginsberg and how he, in a way, opened the haiku door for you. And when Allen died, you wrote these lines. Allen Ginsberg, far beyond 17 syllables. Allen Ginsberg, far beyond 17 syllables. And then you wrote another haiku. Spring wind blossomed you into another world. Mm. Spring wind blossomed you into another world. So I thank you because I felt that and reading the book the second time, was able to really be soaked into the lives of not only the great masters, but Japan, and also into your heart. It's beautiful, Natalie.
Thank you.
So we'd love to ask you, all of you who are out there, if Noah will open the chat stream, and if you would just write the name of the place where you are right now, you know, the country, the state, the indigenous peoples, perhaps, like we live in a land occupied by the Tewa. Where are you from? So let's look, and if we hit the chat.
And please respond to everyone publicly rather than direct message so that everyone can see.
Thank you so much, Noah G. Nebraska, Raleigh.
Bill.
Oh my God, it's going so fast.
It is, so many people. Madison, Pittsburgh.
Natalie, if you want to slow it down, you can just scroll up and then it'll stop.
Land of Aloha, and we're in the land of the Tewa here, and Los Angeles, land of the Tongva.
Vashon Island, Minneapolis, Hong Kong, City of Angels, San Diego, Norman, Oklahoma, Salt Lake City, San Francisco. Is this a reading test? Flagstaff, Bronx, Edmonton, Seaside.
Girdwood, Alaska, on the traditional homelands of the Dena'ina people.
Oh my God, Walla Walla, Aztec, Newton, Kansas, Vancouver,
wow.
Santa Monica, Dharmakaya, Columbus, Ohio.
Mumbai, India. Wow.
Falls, Santa Barbara, Mimak, Paddywhack, China, Athens, Georgia, land of the Kickapoo, Walnut Creek, land of it goes too fast, I can't read, Calapooya, Venice, California, Pecos, Taos, Santa Fe, Cincinnati, Oregon, Pacific Grove, Palo Alto.
Okay. We're from all over. Wow. That is amazing.
Can everyone see this? All the names, the places?
Yeah, all they have to do is go down to the chat and tap on the chat, and then it all comes, it appears magically, this incredible list.
I see.
Oh,
and I can move it over. I've become a pro.
So Natalie, Kaz, Clark, Thank you so much, and everyone. So we also wanted to do a poll. Shall we do it now?
Yeah, let's do that.
We created a poll, and there you are. And Noah, could you explain how this works?
Yeah, we've just, rather than having multiple kind of different questions, we have one question, which is multiple choice. Please select as many as apply to you. If it's your first time writing haiku, please select that. It's all anonymous, so it's just interesting to see what everybody's experience is. And I'm not seeing anybody do it. Is it not working?
No, people are, it says 36%, 30. It's working on my end.
Oh, is
Yep,
it?
I
Okay.
see it. It is working.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
not sure
Cool.
where to put the little magic cursor. Where do I do that? Noah.
Because you're a co-host, you can't.
I can't do
reply.
it. I can't fill it out. Oh, darn.
For some reason, I'm not seeing the results. So
Is this your first haiku retreat or workshop? We're already up to 76 people.
Wow.
Is this your first time writing haiku? We're up to 27. Wow. Do you prefer writing fixed syllables 5, 7, 5, 39? Or do you prefer writing free form haiku? It's going up to 40.
Okay.
But it's racing. I mean,
This is like a presidential election.
yeah.
and after everyone's answered, I'll share the results once it's finished.
Oh,
so
okay, good.
everyone will be able to see it.
So everybody fill it out. We want to see a little bit who's out there.
Are you seeing, Roshi, are you seeing the progress of the poll?
I am.
Okay, I'm still seeing 0% on everything. So for some reason, it's
Oh.
just not.
I
Well,
see.
Working.
So Nad, I hope you're happy. The last question is, have you read Nat's book, Three Simple?
Oh, I haven't seen that. Oh,
Now-
I see. You can
Now,
scroll
28%
down.
have, so the rest of you need to read it.
Oh, my goodness. I can't talk to anybody because I never read my book. I can't talk.
Okay.
Well,
So
I see
this-
one thing that's going to change by the end of this weekend. People,
Yes,
it says only 8% say they
Yes.
belong to a haiku community, and that's about to change for you.
yeah.
Here we are in a huge one right now. So these are the percentages. Is this your first time writing haiku? 25% said yes, Nat and Clark and Kaz. Is this your first haiku retreat or workshop? Oh, 76% said yes. Do you belong to a haiku community? 8%. Well, now you do. Did you learn
Do you want me
about
to keep the poll open? Are we keeping it open or do you want me to close it?
No, I
Okay.
think, well, 94% have already voted. So we still have
It really
6%.
is like a presidential election.
Yeah,
We're
it
gonna
is.
call
Did you learn about haiku in grade school? 34% said yes.
Yeah.
Have you had your haiku published? 12% said yes. And do you want to have your haiku published? 32% yes. Do you prefer writing fixed syllable 575 haiku?
39%.
You're vindicated, 39%. But you
We're
prefer
neck and neck, Clark.
Nat's free form and Clark is 575, and it's 39 for 575 and 40 for free
We
form.
may have to have a runoff.
Okay. We'll see how it falls at the end of our time. Have you read Basho's Journey to
To
the
the deep
north?
north.
15%.
Only 15%. You've
That's
got
pretty
to
good.
read it. It's heaven. You just have to read it.
And have
How
you
many have
read
reported
Nat?
now?
Say what, Noah?
How many people have,
93%.
should we call it so everyone can see?
Yes. let's call it.
You're more popular than Basho.
That's not good. That's not
This
good.
is so weird. I still only see 0. Do you guys see the
Yeah,
numbers?
we've got
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
the.
we do.
It's so funny.
But wow, this is the first haiku program for 76% of the people who are online with us. Wow. It is a refuge for our time. So thank you, Noah G. I love these polls.
Mhm.
And let's save this. Kaz, do you have any comment on the poll that you'd like to make?
It's interesting. Many people studied haiku in primary school. That's so wonderful.
I think it was brought over after World War II.
Mhm, mhm.
Over a third.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
You know, I'm getting some reports that the last 2 questions were hidden and you have to actually scroll down to see them. So apologies that we didn't announce that beforehand.
Well, thank you, Noah G, for setting this up. So I'd like to now invite first Clark, then Kaz, then Natalie, each to reflect on what we're going to be doing this weekend. And beginning with you, Clark.
Thanks, Joan. Well, I'm so pleased to be here. Gosh, I was terrified that it wasn't going to happen this year, because of COVID. And then my haiku friend said, no, we're gonna grab haiku by the forelocks and impress it into service. I'm so happy about that. I'm going to be talking a lot this weekend about haiku as a communal art form. And we'll look at the history of haiku a bit, but mostly as it relates to that, its origin and collaborative verse writing. But we're also going to talk about the language of haiku, and which is a seasonal language. And the seasons are really what knit us together as people, as human beings, what connects us to nature. And the season words of haiku, which are an essential part of the art, are really a language that is older than words. Some of these season words go back before we have written words. They're so ancient, so old. They're like those Paleolithic cave paintings. And if you want to find out a little bit more about them, you can read an essay that basically says just that in the resource section, and that'll help to ground you a bit. One of the things we're going to be doing this weekend is we're going to be participating in one of the oldest traditions in haiku. Now, some of you who've been to a Upaya retreat before, or another haiku retreat, know that we ordinarily have kukais. And that's where you get together with, like maybe 10 people in a group and you share your haiku and you vote on them. Well, with 700 or 800 people, this doesn't really work over Zoom. But there's another tradition that goes all the way back to the days of Basho, which is a challenge where you will receive a season word or sometimes a phrase and asked to write haiku on them. So everyone shares in that. It's a very level playing field. The challenges are all in 575. And this is one for every season. And I'm going to be reviewing those in real time. We're already getting submissions. I haven't checked, but when we started, I think we're already up to 40. We haven't even started yet. So, there should be probably hundreds, maybe thousands by the time we're done. I'll be reviewing all of these and commenting on them over the course of the weekend. That's basically it. You're going to learn how haiku poets have traditionally gotten together. You're going to learn how haiku functions today in Japan. We're going to talk quite a lot about that. I know that Kaz is going to be giving you a lot of the deep history of haiku and its structure and its technique and its form. And Natalie is going to be talking about,
What am I
I
going to
think, the classical travels and experience. What? You are?
I was going to say, what am I going to talk about?
Well, I don't know. It's up to you. But I will be talking a lot about contemporary haiku in Japan. You know, for instance, the real revolutionary fact that since the 1970s, women poets have nearly dominated haiku. You know, Natalie will talk about Chino Yi at some point, I'm sure. Who is, you know, great unsung master of haiku, very famous during her day, but then forgotten for a long time. But today, women like, you know, Mayuzumi Madoka, Kamakura Sayumi, Kuroda Momoko, these are working haiku masters producing art that can stand up against any poem in any language anywhere in the world, and who are influencing poetry all over the world. So we will take a kind of a survey of what's going on in haiku today. That's about it.
Thank you,
I've
Clark.
just put the link up. I don't know if everyone saw it in the chat stream, to submit your haiku here.
Yeah.
This form, and also on the resource page is Clark's instructions for the haiku challenge, which I'm also going to put here.
Each of those season words comes with a haiku tip that you know, gives you an idea of you know, just a couple of suggestions of how you might find your way into that seasonal theme in writing your haiku.
And when are they due, Clark? Some people are asking.
They are due now. You should start writing them. Write as many as you can. You know, Natalie and I became friends because we discovered over 20 years ago that we had basically the same approach to writing. You know, don't pick up your pen. Just keep writing haiku. Don't worry about whether they're good or bad. Keep your fingers moving. Count out those syllables and just write as many haiku as you can on the seasonal themes. And I'm sure you will get some good ones.
Clark, thank you. Wonderful. And I just want to do a little paren here. We had a little bit of a glitch in terms of the Zoom technology. I want to apologize to everybody. I'm so sorry. Some people were kept out at the beginning of the program because of some technical things. So if you missed the very beginning, this recording will be put up right after the session. So just FYI. Again, I really apologize. Kazu.
Can I have a lady first?
Yeah, of
I
course.
don't want to, you know, have two men. Go ahead first.
All right. Natalie.
Okay. Well, this is the 7th year, and I want to warn you, get out now while you can. Because once you get into haiku, you can't get out of it. Like, I wrote a book about haiku. I'll talk more about it tomorrow, but I wasn't writing about haiku. I was exploring something else. But I notice even when I do writing practice, I'm doing writing practice, and then I hear a little voice say, give me a haiku, give me a haiku. You can't get out of it. And what I realized this 7 years that we've been doing this, I wrote a haiku book. Kaz wrote me an email and he said, I'm sending you my introduction to my haiku book. Did we know he was writing a haiku book? And then Clark Strand, who I've been at him forever, he wrote the most magnificent haiku book. And I've written about it. And it went out of print, and I've been after him to get it back in print. So I wrote to him and I said, well, is it going to go in print now? He said, not only that, I have another haiku book that I'm going to do. So, and Joan, Roshi Joan, now has a haiku page on her website with a gorgeous photo and her haiku. So it's really absorbed all of us. And I have students who write haiku every day for years. And I thought I would read this from the book about, it's wonderful and also odd that Basho, who really began serious haiku, and then Busan came and took the rod or whatever you take and continued. Listen to them, these poor people on their deathbed. Basho had been on a pilgrimage visiting the southern coast of Lake Biwa when he became ill with a stomach ailment. So he detoured to nearby Osaka to a friend's home. It was autumn, and he must have been aware of his approaching death. At his friend's house, he went to bed. Many of Basho's disciples heard about Basho's illness, hurried to Osaka, and gathered at his bedside. He was calm as he wrote a note to his elder brother. I am sorry to have to leave you now. According to a disciple's record, he thought only of haiku day and night. Poetry became an obsession, a sinful attachment, as Basho himself called it. Even when he should have been attending to his approaching death, he wrote haiku. But maybe the disciple was wrong, I tell the group, or at least short-sighted. Maybe writing haiku was exactly the proper thing for Basho to do on his deathbed. I take out of my backpack the book I have about Busan and read what Busan said during his own final days. Even being sick like this, my fondness for the way, and by the way, he means haiku, for the way is beyond reason. And I try to make haiku. The heights of my dream hovers over withered fields. Basho's last haiku is impossible for me to reach. Therefore, the old poet Basho's greatness is supremely moving to me now.
Mm.
So even once you get caught, you're stuck. But if you let it, it will transform you. It will bring you to a new place. So I want to welcome everyone coming here. And it's very auspicious that we keep meeting. And the first time we did it, I asked Joan, and she's such a good sport. She said, okay. And we had, I think, 24 people. And it just keeps growing and growing. And I've discovered that people all over the world are writing haiku. And I think any week you could look up, there's a haiku conference in the United States, but probably all over the world. So we've taken something Japanese and made it our own. So don't say I didn't warn you. Okay, Kaz.
Thank you, Natalie.
Sure.
Thank you, Rose John, and thank you, Clark. Great to work with you. And then, hi, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. It's so wonderful to see you all. And thank you for joining us. I'm here to reduce the cultural gap between speakers of English and other languages and the Japanese poetry. I think poetry is music, primarily music, beautiful sound patterns and cadences make outstanding poetry. So I like to offer you some sounds from Japanese poems tomorrow afternoon, the last session. Also, I think it's important to notice the word sequences. In your language too, I think word sequence is important. For example, the first sentence of a book may define the rest of the book. The first word in haiku may weigh as half as much as the rest of the verse. So maybe the poet's thinking the first word and then second word modifying noun or verb from which side, from the top or from the bottom. And so the sequence of the words is very kind of important. And also grammar. Grammar clarifies the relationship among words. So I like to show all this. So sound, word order, and grammar. So by understanding, getting familiar with this, you get also intimate with the breaths, feelings, and thinking of the poet. I hope you've received the handout. 10 pages, and then I hope you read it before our session. On that handout, I kind of presented some poetics of Basho's, which is very paradoxical. He used the words that are usually considered as negative, and then turn around and then put it as the most important sublime concept for poetry making. For example, he used the word that means lonely, which is wabi in Japanese, and also rusty, which means, which is sabi in Japanese, or withering, that is shiori, or thin. Well, thin can be negative in English too, like a thin table, a thin purse, or a plot. So in Japanese, that's hosomi, or lightweight, karumi. So they are all in the handout. So please take a look at that. I may not kind of repeat what I say on the handout, so please take a look. Enjoy the world of original haiku masterpieces. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaz, so much. Unlike Kaz, I am not a scholar of haiku. And unlike dear Clark and my friend and neighbor, Natalie, I'm not a writer. Well, I write books, but you know, Natalie and Clark, they really write. So does Kaz. Well, we all write books. But I'm here basically to encourage you, no matter whether you think you're a writer or not, a haiku master or not, a haiku failure or not, write. Just write. Just write your heart out, and don't judge, and don't feel like you have to make things perfect. It's in those imperfections, in the cracks, in this practice of haiku, that life appears. So my job here is to encourage you to write, but also to keep us on track in terms of our schedule, and to encourage you to step into practice. There were hundreds of people in the Cloud Zendo tonight. It was wonderful being with you. Tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Mountain Time, we'll sit again, because haiku and sitting practice are partners in this program that we're doing. And then at 5:30 p.m., we'll sit again Saturday, and Sunday the same. So it's a time for you to really drop into the stillness and to bring your attention to your posture, to your breath, most importantly, to your heart. So tomorrow morning, we gather at 10, after Zazen at 7. And we begin with Clark opening up our time together with a session called Following the Seasons Together, Building a Haiku Community. And as Nat said, you know, haiku is a refuge. And as Clark will make so clear to us tomorrow, it is not just a solitary practice. It is a community practice. And we're here in this vessel together, in this cloud time together, to build a haiku community. The second session of the morning will be led by Nat. And Nat is going to open up the treasure house of her book, 3 Simple Lines, and introduce us to some of the great poets. But also before lunch, she's going to give us strong instructions on writing. And so during the lunch break, which will happen between 12:15 and 2, we just encourage you, if you're able, step outside of your house. But if you can't, you know, I'm in my little corner Zoom studio here. Look into the details of where you are and just write. And then Natalie will begin the afternoon session as we regather with our haiku. And then Kaz in the afternoon will open up haiku treasury for us, looking at the forms and the words and at the lives of some of the great Japanese haiku poets. On Sunday morning after Zazen at 7, we'll gather with Clark and of course our whole faculty. And we will really begin again to work on the writing practice and to share. And Clark has these forms that you're able to access so easily. And he will be reading thousands of haikus as only a maniac can, Clark. I don't know how you do it. And he will be, you know, picking haiku out of the kind of haiku murmuration of our meeting. And then in the afternoon on Sunday, Nat and Kaz are going to be speaking about the joy of haiku in conversation. And then the last session of our formal group will be all of us together reading our favorite haiku and eliciting haiku from our Maha community, and then Zazen at 5:30. So what I'd like to do is to speak briefly about one of the great haiku masters who really changed the feeling of haiku in the 19th century, and probably is the person who made it possible for haiku to leave Japan and enter the rest of the world. And that is Shiki, who was born, as I recall, in 1867. And in Nat's book, she offers a number of poems or of haiku that I felt were so resonant with this time of the COVID-19 virus. Shiki had tuberculosis, had all kinds of ills associated with TB. And for my little brief pause here, I want to share some of those haiku with you that are in Nat's book. And, you know, Shiki had such a feeling for impermanence. You know, his body was breaking down all the time. In the little room where he was, he also gazed into a garden and saw the garden break down and die and then reborn. But Shiki wrote, "How much longer is my life? A brief night. How much longer is my life? A brief night." And then when he was actively dying, Ritsu prepared Sumi ink, writes Nat, by the sick bed. Shiki lay on his back. Over his head, Ritsu held up his usual writing board. Hekigoto placed the writing brush in Shiki's hand. This is his mother and his sister. Shiki slowly wrote out word by word 3 deathbed poems. The first was his farewell to the world. The gourd flowers bloom, but look, here lies phlegm-stuffed Buddha. The gourd flowers bloom, but look, here lies phlegm-stuffed Buddha. You know, when I read this section of the book the other night, I wept, Nat, because I'm in touch with so many people who are serving people who are dying of the virus, of this plague. And I read this poem and I thought, yes, this. And then Nat writes, the juice from gourds, gathered before they blossom, was used to relieve his coughing. Now the juice was useless, so the flower was allowed to bloom as his death was blooming. 2 opposites held in the mind and in the haiku. This is the haiku usually held up as his traditional death poem, but Nat writes, then Shiki wrote 2 more. A quart of phlegm, even gourd water couldn't mop it up. And then he writes, they didn't gather gourd water day before yesterday either. Well, I just thank you so much, Nat, for bringing Shiki to the reader in such a powerful way. And I'm not going to share the end of the chapter. It's just a paragraph and a half and 1 more haiku. I really encourage you to read page 66 in 3 simple lines. It's the fragility of all of our lives, so profoundly exemplified in the life and the work of Shiki. So this is our time in this very unusual historic era where uncertainty prevails so radically. For us to let haiku be a refuge. So in concluding our introduction this evening, I'm going to ask Clark, Nat, and Kaz for a brief reflection, and then we will offer, Nat, if you would choose a final haiku to end the evening, I'd so appreciate. Clark.
Well, you know, I've always wanted to teach haiku full time, and the pandemic has allowed me to do that. It has required me to do that because suddenly people wanted to write haiku, and they wanted to be in community with one another, and they wanted to have intense poetic relationships with one another, supportive relationships. And so I have been reviewing people's poetry, sometimes reading, you know, hundreds of poems a day, and responding to those and connecting people with one another to support one another during these times. You know, the writing on these season words from week to week, as we do in my groups, people get to know one another very well, and they have a feeling. One person described it as, you know, the new season words gets posted on a Monday, and they have, you know, like 72 hours to write poems on that. And they say it's like, you know, another step forward that's getting them through the week to the next week. But it's plumbing the depths of their experience and allowing them to reflect on, you know, the depth and meaning of what's happening, not only in their own lives, but in the culture, in the environment, all around us right now. 17 syllables and a season word can express just about every possible human thought and emotion. And there really are no limits on it. It's a very, very beautiful thing. You only have to give yourself to it to find that it opens up within you as a kind of a treasure, you know, and gives you a sort of a stability. I mean, once you unite with the seasons and learn to follow the seasons as Basho did, and Busan did, Issa did, and Shiki, and Chinoyi, and Momoko today, and Mayazumi, and all of these great poets, you find that it's a stabilizing and inspiring force that allows you to, you know, to find your place alongside other people and all other creatures, even the weather itself. Become one with those. And it's very consoling at a time like this, a very deeply comforting experience. You know, it's just 17 syllables, but, you know, it's a lifeline. It's been a lifeline for me. And I've seen it pull people out of depression. I've seen it heal people. I've seen people get through cancer writing haiku and come out the other side.
Thank you, Clark, so much. You know, you feel almost evangelical or prophetic.
I am. I absolutely am. And it'll be worse tomorrow.
Oh, good. Wonderful. So since Kaz wants to do male, female, I'll just read one haiku before I ask Kaz for some concluding words. And Nat, I'm so proud. I've only had one haiku really published, and you included it in your book, so thank you. And also, I'm embarrassed to say, but Nat dedicated the book to Upaya and to me. So thanks, Natalie. Truly. You know, in the Pali Canon, the Buddha told Ananda, the whole of the holy life is good friends. So thank you. So, you know, over the years, every once in a while, kind of humbly, I toss a haiku or two at Natalie, and she goes, ah. And I don't personalize criticism like that. You know, I'm just persistent. I just keep showing up. I'll just keep writing bad haiku, which is my great pleasure. And so finally, one year I sent her this, and this was after a huge snowstorm at the Refuge. And not many people realize this, but I'm really an introvert. I happen to have a personality, but I'm the kind of person who completely is comfortable alone. And I'm quite uncomfortable in groups of people, actually. But, you know, I guess my practice is to be with groups of people. But in any case, I have a little hermitage that I take refuge in the mountains, an hour and a half northeast of here. And it's really hard to get to. And I was there it's up at 9,400 feet, and a huge snowstorm came in, and I wrote these words. Snowstorm at the Refuge. Strange joy to see the world disappear. Snowstorm at the Refuge. strange joy to see the world disappear. Okay, Kaz.
I feel so intimate with you. We are so close to each other because of the screen, I guess. Usually we sit with a little bit more distance, but my screen is large and then very close to me. So you are just right here. And it's like it's a miracle, I mean, people in great distances and then different ages, different maybe interests, and different people all get together just because of haiku, such a short form of poetry. And it's just amazing. I'm awed. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaz.
Mhm.
And Kaz, it's funny. I've ended up preferring to teach on Zoom than in person for that reason, because I feel so close to people. First it was awkward, but now it feels so intimate and comfortable. So I understand your feeling. Maybe not everybody feels that way, but the two of us do. Nat, would you offer some words and a final haiku?
Sure. Actually, it was Clark who introduced me to Shiki. And when Joan Roshi said that his last 5 years of his life, he was in just such pain, he was in bed all the time. But every morning, he'd get up and drag himself to the edge of the tatami and look out at his garden and wait for haiku. And I actually went there to his home and his garden a year ago, the last trip I took before COVID. And Clark gave me this picture, which I keep on my writing desk. I hope you can see it. This is Shiki. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Shiki sitting at the edge of his tatami, looking out at his garden. So I think I'll read a Shiki haiku. And because really he lived till 1902, and in a way he threw haiku into the 20th century. Mm-hmm. And we have it today, I think, because of him. So I'll tell you two things. First, you remember what I read before, Basho died in the autumn. And persimmons get ripe in the autumn. And persimmons are Shiki's favorite fruit. He loved them. And also Clark said that haiku is a communal act. So this is reaching through the centuries. This is by Shiki. Anniversary of Basho. Alone, I eat a persimmon. Mm-hmm. Anniversary of Basho. Mm-hmm. Alone, I eat a persimmon. Of course, he had to be alone because he was suffering a lot. He couldn't hang out in a crowd and drink sake, but also not alone with all of us. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Nat. Thank you, Clark. Thank you, Kaz.
Thank you,
everybody.
Just to remind you, at 7 a.m. we gather for Zazen, and then at 10, I hope I did not misspeak, at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, we gather for our first session, which will be led by Clark. And I'm so grateful that we can do this together with all of you. Thank you for your practice, and get ready to write.
quick question, Roshi, that seems important. Can you use, for Clark, can you use plurals for your season words?
Yes, you can. Absolutely. And I'll talk a little bit in the morning, just I'll give a sort of a brief orientation to the challenges and how to do them, before we get started in the morning. But tonight, don't worry about it. Just take those 17 syllables and your season word and just play. Just play. Tomorrow we'll talk about how to make that playfulness into art. And you've already submitted 200 poems, so you're on your way.
Whoa, wonderful. Any other questions? Just maybe put them in the chat.
Kigaku, I have a question, not for the whole group, but afterwards, can I talk to you? I don't know how. but-
Absolutely.
Okay,
I'll call you.
okay, good.
So the form, Kigaku, just put the form up. And where are we supposed to submit the poems? Right above that question, Linda, is the link to the form. And also the link to that form will be in the email alert that you'll receive tomorrow morning. And just, go for it.
It's really foolproof. It just says which season word you want to write on, and it gives you a place to type it in, and that's it. Google does the rest.
And Nat, what is the name of the book? Basho's Journey to the Far North.
That's the end of the book.
Yeah, I know. That's the name of the book. Journey to the Far North.
Or
Open
Journey
no
to the
Hosomichi.
Deep North.
Beautiful.
People are asking what the season words are. If you look on the resource page at Clark's instructions for the haiku challenges, they're all in there, and they're also in the form itself.
Yeah, and there's one for each season. So icicle for winter, inchworm for spring, hailstone for summer, that's a summer word, and acorn for autumn.
How great. And not to worry, we're here to take care of questions. And again, I really apologize for the little glitch at the beginning. We're doing so much here at Upaya, and it was a tiny oversight, and our cup runneth over. So we'll see you in the morning. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.